Testing. Awesome. Cool. So for anyone, I don't think anyone's tuned in yet, but for anyone that joins later and like watches from the beginning or whatever, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm probably not gonna talk a ton. But I'm going to turn on Canon Plus. I think I'm gonna do one of the 28th today. I really like one of the 28th. So, just give me a second. Agincourt is also really good. No, oh, now I want Sir Guy. It's tough. I gotta choose. You know what? I'm gonna go with, no, it's so hard. Wait, where's my coin? I'm gonna flip my coin, guys. I've got this coin here. I'm gonna flip it. Alright. Heads is at Agincourt. And we got tails, so guess we're going with the 28th. Hello.
Preface. Although in the present story a boy plays the principal part and encounters many adventures by land and sea, a woman is the real heroine, and the part she played demanded an amount of nerve and courage fully equal to that necessary for those who take part in active warfare. Boys are rather apt to think
Hi.
they can make their sex as a monopoly.
Don't know who that is.
But I believe that in moments of great peril, women are to the full as brave and as collected.
Oh, no, wait. Actually, I'm gonna take a wild guess from your username and assume that's Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy. I've never played it. This is actually an original character of mine. Just trying to finish her up now. I've been drawing this for months and keep getting distracted with other things or getting burnt out, and I just want to finish it.
Well. There is no greater mistake than to think women cowards because they're sometimes nervous over trifles. Were it necessary, innumerable cases could be quoted in history to prove that women can, upon occasion, fight as courageously as men. Caesar found that the women of the German tribes could fight bravely side by side with the men, that the Amazons of the king of Dahomey are more feared by the neighboring tribes than are his male soldiers. Almost every siege has its female heroines, and in the Dutch War of Independence, the female companies of Sluis and Haarlem proved themselves a match for the best soldiers of Spain. Above all, in patient endurance of pain and suffering, women are immeasurably superior to men. I emphasize this point because I know that many boys, simply because they are stronger than girls, are apt to regard them with a sort of contempt.
I forgot about this author's note. It's kind of funny.
Justification. Not only stronger, but braver and more courageous. In fact, superior beings in every way. Signed, G.A. Henty. Chapter 1. Unexpected News. I have written to ask Ralph Conway to come and stay for a time with me. The announcement was a simple one, but it fell like a bombshell in the midst of the party at breakfast at Penfold Hall. The party consisted only of the speaker,
and Mr.
Penfold, and his two sisters. both exclaimed,
Herbert!
in a tone of shocked surprise. Mr. Penfield was evidently prepared for disapprobation. He had spoken in a somewhat nervous tone, but the decision quite unusual to him. He had finished
Hello,
his
Eclipse Edits.
last cup of tea before making the announcement. Then he now pushed back his chair, rose to his feet, and said, I have been thinking of having him here for some time, and I suppose that as master of this house I am at liberty to ask whom I like. At any rate, I would rather have no discussion on the subject. So saying, without giving his sisters time to reply, he walked hastily to the door and went out. Miss Penfold and Miss Eleanor Penfold gazed at each other in speechless astonishment. So accustomed were they to settle everything that took place at Penfold Hall that this sudden authority on the part of their brother fairly staggered them. Miss Penfold was the first to speak. This is terrible, Eleanor, to think that after all these years Herbert's thoughts should still be turning toward that woman. But it is only what might be expected. The ingratitude of men is terrible. Here we have for the last 20 years been devoting our lives to him, not only keeping his house for him, but seeing that he did not fall a victim to any of the designing women who would have insinuated themselves into his good graces and prevented him from indulging in all sorts of foolish tastes and bringing himself to ruin. And now, you see, he turns again to that artful woman, and without saying a word to us, invites her son to come in. It is monstrous, sister.
It is
It
monstrous.
is monstrous, Miss Eleanor Penfold repeated with tears in her eyes. It is like flying in the face
I've listened to this
of
story
Providence,
too
sister.
many times.
It is flying in our faces, Miss Penfold replied sharply. And just at the present moment, that is of more importance. To think that man must have been brooding over this and making up his mind to act in this way for weeks, perhaps, and never to say a word to us upon the subject. I wonder he didn't ask the woman herself down. He never could have done such a shameless thing, Charlotte, her sister said, much shocked. Of course, we must have left the house instantly. Oh, I should not have left the house, Miss Penfold said firmly. If the woman comes, and now he has asked the boy, it's quite possible that he may ask the mother. Our duty will be to remain here. You know we have been uneasy ever since her husband died. Herbert's infatuation concerning her has been pitiable, and we have always believed it has been that alone which has caused him to refuse so obstinately to enter into our plans, or to pay even
Arguably,
courtesy to the
they're
various
more
excellent young women
like
we have
obsessed
from
with
time to
her
time
because,
asked
you
down
know,
here.
they've been worrying
And
about
who
her
in every
since
way
her
suitable for the
husband
position of
died.
mistress of this
But
house.
like,
Women full of sense.
they only know
and
that
with the
because
right
they keep an eye
guidance
on
would
her.
have made him perfectly happy. And now he flies in our faces and asks the boy down. I've had an idea for some little time that he's had something on his mind. He's been more nervous and fidgety than usual, and several times he'd seemed to be on the point of saying something and then changed his mind. Of course, one can understand it all now. No wonder he was ashamed to look us in the face when he was meditating such a step as this. The duplicity of man is something shocking. It's not surprising
I
that
actually
Herbert
quote that
Penfold's
part
sudden
a
assertion of
lot.
his will was a shock to his
Like,
sisters.
not like for actual
These ladies had so long
context,
been
but
accustomed
just
to
the
rule
duplicity
absolutely
of
at
man is
Penfold Hall.
simply
That
shocking.
Mr. Penfold's
Because it's
assertion of his
funny.
right to act as he pleased in his own house
Ugh.
came upon them like an act of absolute rebellion. At their
Hey,
father's
real
death,
quick,
they were women of 27 and
I don't
36
actually
years,
have a skirt
respectively.
with her outfit
Herbert
in
was
this
a
one
lad of
drawing I
16.
have.
He was of gentle and yielding
What
disposition,
color do you think I
and
should
as
make
their
it?
father for some years previous to his death had been a confirmed invalid,
Hello.
and they had the complete management of
We're
the house,
listening to
it
one
was
of the
but natural
28th. Actually,
that the father's
I should
estate
pin
should
that
continue in
for
the same
anybody that
position.
comes in.
Owing to weak health, Herbert had not been sent to school,
Well, I'm
but
thinking
had been
about it. Can y'all
educated
hear
up to
that
the
all
art of
right?
tutor. He had wished when he reached the age of 19 to enter one of the universities, but his sisters had been so opposed to the idea, yet had represented so strongly to him his unfitness to take part in the rough sports of the young men, and how completely he would feel out of place in such companionship, that he had abandoned the idea and had traveled on the continent for 3 years with his tutor, his sisters being for most of the time of the party. Soon after his return, he had fallen in love with the daughter of Colonel Vernon, an officer living on half pay at Poole, which was the nearest town to Penfold Hall. The announcement of his engagement came like a thunderclap upon his sisters, who had agreed that it would be in all respects better if Herbert should not marry for some years. They had, however, been wise enough not to offer any open opposition to the match. 3 months later, the engagement was broken off. How it came about, no one exactly knew.
Aw,
That
thank
is, which
you.
might have set matters straight somehow
Um,
failed to come to hand. And so
this is
last night's work
actually
of
a
bad
bit of a
boys and a close
story.
of
I
final quarrel,
draw,
a
and
return
like
of
I got into
belated presence
drawing
on both
because I'm a
sides,
writer,
and a final breaking
and
off of the engagement. A week later,
I
Mary Vernon married Mr. Conway, an
don't see
architect
like
resident in London.
images in my head like,
Mr. Penfold
ooh,
had
I
for
don't even know how to
years become
explain this.
convinced that
I think it's
Mary was
funny because I'll
capable
tell
of
people this
playing
and
the
they're like,
man,
what do you mean you
and
can't
that he
see
had
things
in
in your
some way
head?
or other taken an altogether
Like if
mistaken
you
view
close
of his
your eyes
future.
and you picture something
He
and like you
declared
see
comments
it
of such
in your
friends only
brain,
intimate enough to speak,
I
and the
don't do
rules of
that.
many others
So
that he was considered to
I've got my
bear
characters,
badly
and as
toward
you
him.
can see, this is
But
not
this
a
thought was a
human.
most
She
distressing
is
one, for he
blue.
was deeply attached to
That's
Mary,
just a thing that she
and had he
is.
not been convinced that
And
from
I
some
can't just
reason or other
picture
she
that in my
herself had
head.
ceased to care
So
for
I
him,
learned to draw so that I
they
could
had
draw
been
my
involved in agreement,
characters.
he would have gone
So
healing toward healing the
yeah,
breach.
that's
When
the
it was
that's
too
the
late,
reason,
he
really.
bitterly regretted
Don't
his
really
own
have any
weakness
other.
in submitting to the domination of his sisters, and felt a deep, though silent, resentment against them for the share that he was convinced they had taken in causing the breach between himself and Mary Vernon. But although he resented, he had neither the will nor firmness to free himself from their domination. At times he struggled feebly against it, on 2 or 3 occasions had suddenly gone up to town and thence on to the continent, and had traveled there for weeks. On one of these occasions he had written to them saying that he thought it would be for the happiness of them all if they were to leave Penfold Hall and set up an establishment of their own. But upon his return he found things going on exactly as before, and Miss Penfold had spoken somewhat severely of the silly letter he had written to them, a letter displaying at once such ingratitude and folly that it had been beneath them to notice it.
I'm
As
gonna
Herbert
be
Penfold
completely
was in a
honest.
way
I wish
really
I could
fond of
pull
his
off
sisters, who spared no
like a
effort in making his
headband
home
thing like
comfortable
she
for him,
does,
and who allowed him to have his own
because
way in all
I
minor
can't
matters.
ever get them to
He
look
could
right,
not
but I
bring
really
himself
like
to
it how they
repeat when
looks on
face to
her.
face with them
Oops, I have my
the
sound on
opinion he had
apparently.
expressed in writing. And so things had gone on for years. The Miss Penfolds were really anxious to see their brother married, provided only that it was to a lady who would be, in their estimation, fitted for him, and who would also have a feeling of gratitude toward themselves for their share in installing her as mistress of the hall. They were quite prepared to advocate in her favor and to retire to some pretty house near a pleasant watering place, paying visits once or twice a year to the hall. The listless life their brother led was a source of grief to them, for they were really attached to him and believed that they had in every way been working for his happiness. They had no shadow of regret for the part they played in breaking off his engagement with Mary Vernon. Having once convinced themselves that she was a frivolous girl, quite unsuited for the position of mistress of Penfold Hall, they had regarded it as an absolute duty to protect Herbert from the consequences of what they considered his infatuation. Consequently, for years they were in the habit of inviting for long visits young ladies whom they considered in every way eligible as their successor,
What's with the
and had been much
suspenseful
relieved
dun
at their want of
dun
success.
dun dun?
The indifference with which Herbert regarded the
What
presence
did
of
I
his young women.
do?
When 4 years after his marriage to Mary
Oh
Vernon,
no.
Mr. Conway had died suddenly, they had been seized with a
Bro,
vague disquiet,
go away.
for they believed that the remembrance of
Shoot.
his first love was the real cause of Herbert's indifference to others, and considered it probable he might still be sufficiently infatuated with her to attempt to undo the past. To their gratification, though, Herbert never alluded to the subject, never, so far as they knew, made the slightest effort to renew her acquaintance. In fact, Herbert Penfold was a diffident as well as a weak man. Once
Oh
convinced that he
man,
had
the
acted badly toward
pt3.
Mary Vernon, he was equally
Go out
convinced that
the
she must
way.
despise him and that he was utterly unworthy of her. Had it been otherwise, he would have again entered the lists and tried to recover the love he had thrown away. Although he occasionally yielded to the entreaties of his sisters and showed himself with them at county gatherings, gave stately dinner parties at regular intervals, and accepted the invitations of his neighbors, he lived the life almost of a recluse. His sole companion and friend was the rector of the parish, who had been his tutor during his continental tour, and whom he had presented with the living which was in his gift, to the secret dissatisfaction of his sisters, who had always considered that Herbert's tutor had endeavored to set him against them. This had to some extent been the case, in so far at least that Mr. Withers, who had left college only a short time before starting with Herbert, had endeavored to give him habits of self-reliance and independence of thought, and had quietly striven against the influence that his sisters had upon his mind.
I actually
It was
feel
not
so
until
bad
after
for
the Mary
Herbert
Vernon episode that the living had fallen
because
vacant.
his
Had
sisters
it
were
been
using him,
otherwise,
but
things
like,
might have turned out differently,
listening to the
for Herbert
story,
would
like,
certainly have sought his
you
friend's
kind of
advice
get
in his
that they
troubles.
are
After that, was too
doing
late
what
for
they
his
think is best for
interference.
him. They're
Mr.
not
Withers had watched
doing
the
it
state of matters at the hall, and his young wife
to
had often
to
urged
be
him to try
mean,
to induce Herbert Penfold
but
to rouse himself and assert
it's
himself
just, it
against the
wasn't good for
sisters.
him.
But the vicar remained
Oh,
neutral. He saw
my
that,
default
though
thing
at
to say
times
would be
Herbert was a little
grass. So
impatient
then I
with the
feel like that's
domination
like
of his
really
sisters,
just basic.
and a chance word showed that he nourished a feeling of resentment toward them, he was actually incapable of bringing himself to the necessary effort required to shake off their
Grass.
influence altogether and to request them to leave the hall. Nothing short of this would suffice to establish his independence, for after a mere temporary assertion of authority, he would, if they remained there, assuredly, speedily allow affairs to lapse into their present state, and the vicar thought that harm rather than good would be caused by his interference, and that as his influence would be sure to be suspected, there would be a breach between the hall and the rectory. As it was, the connection was an intimate one. Herbert was always glad to see him when he came in for a talk in the course of his rounds, or when he and his wife would come up to dine quietly. The Miss Penfolds were always ready with their purses to aid him to carry out his schemes for the good of the parish, and to sympathize with his young wife and her troubles, for of these she had a large share, all her children save one girl having been carried off in their infancy. Mabel Withers was as much at home at the hall as at the rectory. She was chief pet and favorite with Mr. Penfold, and although his sisters considered that the rector allowed her to run wild, and that under such license she was growing up a sad tomboy, they could
Fascinating.
not withstand the influence of the child's happy and fearless disposition, and were, in their way, very kind to her. Such was the state of
Hey
things at
Heidi.
Penfold Hall when its owner
Can I call you
suddenly
that, or
announced
do you
that he
prefer
invited the
Michelle
young
or
Count
Heidi
Conway
Michelle?
to stay. There had fallen like a
Like,
bombshell
what's your
upon the
preference?
sisters. The invitation had caused almost as much surprise to Mrs. Conway as to the Miss Penfolds. Her father had died a few months after her marriage, and at the death of her husband, she found herself left with an income of about $100 a year, the interest of the sum for which he had insured his life. To her surprise, she had a month or two later received an intimation from the lawyer who managed her business that a friend had arranged to pay the sum of £100 every quarter to her account, on condition only that no inquiry whatever should be made as to his or her identity.
I am now
Mary Conway had
randomly
thankfully
picturing
accepted the gift,
how
which had,
grass
however,
could
caused her
grow
intense
from the top
wonderment and
down.
curiosity. So far as she knew, neither her father nor her husband had any relations
Because that
who
sounds
could
kind of
afford its
insane.
absolute kin. She knew that Colonel Vernon had been most popular with his regiment, and the supposition at which she finally arrived was that some young officer whom he had befriended in difficulties had, on coming into a large property, determined similarly to befriend the daughter of his former colonel. Had she been alone in the world, she would have declined to accept this aid from an unknown benefactor, but for her son's sake, she felt that it would be wrong to do so.
You know what I think's
The
funny
idea
about
that the money
grass
might
is
come
that
from Herbert Penfold
babies,
had once or twice occurred to her,
like
only to be at once
90% of
dismissed.
babies that I have met,
For had she really
hate
believed that it
grass.
came from him, she could not,
I don't know
even
why.
for Ralph's sake,
They
have
just
accepted
do.
it. He had, as she believed, quarreled with her altogether without cause. Her letters had been unanswered, and she considered the quarrel to have been simply a pretext upon the part of Herbert to break off an engagement of which he was tired. Words
I love
dropped
how many
apparently
shades
by
of blue
accident
there
by
are.
Herbert's sisters had, before the misunderstanding commenced, favored this idea, and although she had really loved him,
Earth printer?
her disposition was too spirited to allow her to take
What's
the
that?
steps she otherwise might have done to set herself right with him. At any rate, she had no ground whatever for believing that Herbert, after the breach of the engagement, entertained any such feelings toward her as would have led him to come forward to assist her in any way after she had become the wife of another. And so for 12 years she had continued to receive her quarterly income. She had established herself in a pretty little house near Dover, where several old friends of her father resided, and where she had plenty of pleasant society among the officers of the regiments stationed there, although far from rivaling Portsmouth or Plymouth.
Well, that's fun. We
Dover was
used
a
to have a
busy town
VR
during
when
the
I
time
was
of the Great
younger,
War.
but I think it
The
broke.
garrison was a large one.
Either that
Channel
or
cruisers often
it got
anchored
put
under the
away
guns of the castle,
for some reason, and
and
I
from the
have
top of
not
the
seen it
hills upon a
since.
clear day, for months a
What do
keen
you like
lookout
to
was
play
kept
with
for the
on
appearance from the
VR?
port of Boulogne of the expedition Napoleon had gathered there for the invasion of England. The white sails of the English cruisers as they sailed up and down the channel were clearly visible, and occasionally a privateer could be seen making its way westward with a prize it had picked up off Texel. Military and naval matters were the sole topics of conversation, And by the time he was 15, Ralph had fully determined to follow in his grandfather's footsteps and to become a soldier. Having passed almost all her life among military men, Mrs. Conway had offered no objections to his wishes, and as several of her old friends had promised to use their influence on his behalf,
There are a lot of shades
that he
of
would
blue.
be enabled to procure a commission as soon as he reached the regulation
I don't
age.
know that I have a favorite shade of blue.
It was
That
not
is the
often that
wrong
the postman
direction. You're
called
supposed to be
at Mrs.
looking this
Conway's
way.
with letters, for postage was
Here.
expensive, and the people
And
in
now you
those
look
days
like you're
only
staring
wrote
into
when
my
they had something
soul.
particular to say. Mrs. Conway had just made breakfast when Ralph came in with a letter in his hand. "Here's a letter for your mother, but please don't open it until you've given me my breakfast. I'm very late now, and she'll barely have time to get through with it and be there before the gates close." Your porridge
That
is quite
sounds
ready
like
for you,
fun.
Ralph, so if you are late,
So is it
it'll
just
be
like
your own
riding a
fault, not
roller
mine.
coaster,
The answer
or
will be in before you've eaten it.
is it
However,
like
I
something
won't open
else?
the letter until you've gone, because you'll only waste time by asking questions about it. Ralph began his bread and milk, and Mrs. Conway, stretching out her hand, took the letter and laid beside his plate.
This is arguably one of the hardest parts of drawing people. I can't get the eyes to look right. Because, like, if the pupil's that big over on that side, but then if I did it to be in the exact same position over here, it'd be like, oh!
"What is it, Mother? You look quite startled. Who's it from?" "It's from no one you know, Ralph. I think it's
Goodness,
from a person I
okay.
have not heard from for some years. At any rate, it will keep until you are
Okay.
off to school.
Cool.
It's not
So,
unpleasant, I hope, Mother. Your color is quite gone,
doing
and
like
downright pale." "No,
that?
what should be the matter, you silly boy?" Mrs. Conway said. Attempt to smile. "What could there be
Maybe.
unpleasant in a letter
Hold
from a
on.
person I've not heard from for years? Now, go on with your breakfast. I expect you'll hear some news when you get down
No,
into
you
town.
look cross-eyed.
The guns in the castle have been firing, and I suppose there's news of a victory. They said yesterday that a great battle was expected to be fought against
No.
Napoleon somewhere near Leipzig.
Hi. No.
Yes, I heard the guns, Mother, and I expect there has been a victory. I hope not. "I do hope not, Ralph." "Why, of course, Mother, I don't want the French to be beaten, not regularly beaten, till I'm old enough to have a ship. There'll be plenty of time for you, Ralph," his mother said, smiling.
Oh, I like
"This has
that
been
one.
patched up
Okay.
once or twice, but it
But
never
then we need
lasts long, and after
this
fighting for
one
the last 20 years,
to match.
it's hardly probable that the world is going to grow peaceful all at once. But there, it's time for you to be off. It only wants 10 minutes to 9, and you'll have to run fast all the way to be in time." When Mrs. Conway was alone, she took up the letter and turned it over several times before opening it.
What do you think, guys? Does it look like she's looking in the same direction with both eyes? Does that look right?
And was still a pretty woman.
I can't
A
tell.
sudden thought sent a flush of color to her face. "Never," she said decidedly. "After the way in which he treated me, he cannot
Not that it really
suppose
matters,
that
I guess,
now."
because I also think one of her eyes is bigger than the other.
"I know I did love him once dearly, and it nearly broke my heart. But that was years and years ago. Well, let's see what he has to say for himself."
Oh, that sounds really cool,
She glanced
actually.
through it quickly and then read it again more carefully.
I like
She
sandbox
was very
things.
pale now, and her lips trembled
They're
as
fun.
she laid down the letter. "So," she said to herself in a low tone, "it is to him, after all, I owe all this." And she looked around her pretty room, and I never once really suspected it.
Alright, I'm gonna say it again because I'm kind of stuck and I don't know what color to do for her skirt. Do either of you guys have an idea? Or anybody else? I'm not sure if there's anyone else over there.
Poor Herbert.
But I have two people chatting with me, so for now, there's two
For fully
people.
half an hour she sat without moving, her thoughts busy with the past, and then she began and took up the letter again and reread it several times.
Would it be easier to get a new controller, like cheaper in the long run, or does it make more sense to get it repaired? I ask mostly because my laptop died recently, so I had to buy a new one, and like I made the decision to buy a new one instead of taking my old one to the shop, because it would just end up costing more to take it to a shop than to get a new one,
I attempt to make no excuses. I am conscious that
in
while that is
comparative
one thing
price
I
of
was
how much that
responsible,
one cost to buy in the first
and that
place.
is to my own weakness of will and lack of energy that the breach between us was due. However, all this is of the past and can now
I'm not sure I
interest
said
you
that
but little.
correctly.
You've had your own sorrows and trials, at which, believe me, I sincerely grieve. And now,
Well,
my
is the
object in writing here,
controller, like, is it something you unplug, or is it, like, actually connected to it, and, like, you would have to get a whole new system?
First physicians, and they agreed that, as I had already suspected, I was suffering from heart disease, or rather perhaps from an enfeebled state of my heart, which may at any time cease to do its work. Naturally, then, I turned my thoughts as to whom I should leave my property. My sisters are
thinking
amply
maybe
provided
some
for.
kind of
I have no
green,
other near
or like a
relatives, and
bluish
therefore consider
green,
myself free to
but
leave it
not
as I
too
choose.
blue-green.
I have long fixed my thoughts upon the daughter of a dear friend, the rector of Bilston. She is now 13 years old, and half my property
Okay,
is left her.
so
I have left the other half to your
from
son.
what I'm
The whole
understanding,
subject to an
you
annuity
have
for
like
yourself,
your
which you will not, I
VR
trust,
set,
refuse to accept.
and then there's a
I've
controller
never
that
thought of any woman
connects
but
to
you,
it,
and I hope that you will not allow your
and the
just resentment
controller's
against
not
me
working. Is that what
to
you're
deprive
saying?
me of the poor satisfaction of making what atonement lies in my power for the cruel wrong I
Can the
formerly did you.
controller disconnect?
Were I strong and in health, I can well imagine that you would indignantly refuse
Well,
your
yeah,
son
I
any
know
benefit
that.
from my hands.
That's why I'm
But knowing
asking. I'm
your
trying to
kindness
see
of heart, I
like
feel sure that you will not
what
sadden the
Heidi
last days of
has.
a doomed man by the knowledge that even after his death, his hopes of ensuring the comfort of the one woman on earth he cared for are to be disappointed.
Why?
I should like to know your son.
Okay.
Would it be too much to ask you to spare
I
him
like
for a
that
while
shade of
from
green,
time
I
to time,
think.
so long as I
Maybe a
live?
little bit darker, right there.
I have a double motive, I say frankly, in thus asking him to come here. I wish him and my little pet, Mabel Withers, to come
Okay.
to like each other.
Okay.
I wish to divide my property between
I'm not
them,
very tech
and yet I
savvy,
should demand that
so
her estate could
I
remain
don't know.
intact. I should not be so foolish as to make a proviso that two persons who are as yet so young, and who may not in any way be suitable to each other,
I don't
should
know.
marry.
Guys, I'm bad with colors.
But
Does
nothing
this
would please me so
green
much as
go
that they
well
should take
with
a
like,
fancy to each
let
other,
me get it
and
much
thrown
bigger.
together as they
With
would be
the
here, for
the
Mabel is
sweater
constantly in the
and
house.
her skin color
It's
being
just
blue.
possible that one of those boy and girl affections, which do sometimes, although perhaps rarely, culminate in marriage, might spring up between them. Whether that may be so in the present case, I must leave to fate. But I should at any rate like to pave the way for such an arrangement by bringing the young people together. I need not say that it will be best that neither of them should have the slightest idea of what's in my mind, for this would be almost certain to defeat my object. If the proposal is agreeable to you, I hope that you will let Ralph come to me at the beginning of his holidays, which must, I fancy, be now near at hand. I think it will be as well that he should not know of my intention as to the disposal of my property, for it is better he should think that he will have to work for his living. But at the same
That is
time,
not what I
there would be no harm in
intended
his
to
knowing
do.
that it is probable I shall help him on in life. This will make him bear better what would otherwise be a dull visit. But I leave this matter entirely in your hands. You know the boy, and I do not, and you can therefore better judge what will be best for him to know. And now, dear Mary, if you'll pardon my once again calling you so, I remain your affectionate friend,
What?
Herbert Penfold.
What?
It was characteristic of Mrs. Conway that, at the first reading of
I
this
am
letter, she
very
thought rather of the
confused.
writer than of the bright prospects which his offer opened to her son. She thought rather of Herbert Penfold, her first love, now ill, if not dying, of the days of their engagement, its rapture, then of the fact that her son was to inherit half the Penfold estates. She had been sorely hurt at the time, and even after all
No,
these years,
I
it was
got
a
that
pleasure to
there
her to
aren't
know that
any
the quarrel
bodies,
was
but
not,
like,
as she had
I'm
often
confused.
thought at the time,
Hydraulings.
a mere pretext for breaking
How are
off
you
the
doing?
engagement, but that Herbert had really loved her, had cared for her all these years, and had been the mysterious friend whose kindness had so lightened her cares. She said to
No, I
herself,
think the
"I
skirt
did
maybe
not
needs to be
throw away
darker
my
to
love
fit
after
with
all."
the sweater.
As with her eyes full of tears, she stood at the window and looked out toward the sea. He cared for me enough to be faithful all this time and to think of me constantly, while I had almost forgotten the past. I ought to have known all the time that he was acting under the influence of others. Those sisters of his, of course. I was always certain they hated
That
the
looks
thought
better.
that I become
I
a
like that.
mistress of
If
Penfold
it's
Hall.
better.
I knew the influence they had over him. Herbert had
No,
no
I
will of his own.
didn't.
It was
I
the
didn't get a
only fault I ever saw
notification
in him,
for that.
and they could twist him round their little fingers.
Oh, yes, not a
And now he's going
notification.
to make Ralph his heir, or at least his heir with the girl he speaks of.
I don't know.
It's a
I
grand
haven't
thing
seen
for
that. I
Ralph.
didn't
The
know they were
estates
making a
worth,
third
they tell
one.
Papa, 8,000 a year.
Does it look any good?
And if Herbert's little romance comes off, Ralph will have all.
Oh, what are called
And she
little
thought over the
bodies?
years he had been befriending her and wondered what she should do about it.
I'm confused.
Finally, being a sensible woman, she decided to do nothing. Had she known it before or learned the truth by other means, she would have refused absolutely to touch Herbert Penfold's money. But it would be indeed a poor return for his kindness were she now, when he was ill and feeble and was about to bestow still further benefits upon
What
her,
am I doing,
to
actually?
refuse to permit him any longer to aid
I
her.
think I decided to leave that
She
space
wished,
down
as
there
she read the
blank,
letter
and I'm
over
gonna, like,
again,
write little
that
things
he had
about her
expressed
down
some
there.
desire to see her. She should have liked to have thanked him in person, to have told him how grateful she felt for his care and kindness, to have taken his hand again, if but for a minute.
Oh,
But he had expressed no wish for a meeting.
fascinating.
He had never
So,
all
like,
these years made
Elsa,
any effort to see her.
but
She could
evil.
read in the wording of the letter that he had been principally deterred from making any attempt to see her by the feeling that he had entirely forfeited her
I
regard
am not familiar
and
with
had
Bone Lab.
offended her beyond a
Sorry.
chance of forgiveness. And had she been asked the day before, she would doubtless have replied that she had no wish whatever, ever again, to meet Herbert Penfold. Whereas now she felt almost aggrieved that he should
That's
express no wish to
interesting.
meet her. Should have
I don't
stayed
really
away
know what to
so
think
long
about
without
that.
making one effort to bring about
Oh, I'm
reconciliation.
listening to one of the 28th by
She said
Jay
pettishly,
Henty.
of all the
It's
faults
really
that a
good.
man can
I love
have,
it.
none is one so detestable as that of
Back at the
self-distrust.
beginning, there's several
Why could
parts
he
in
not have
chapter
said 10
1
years
that
ago,
I quote constantly.
I behaved
So
badly, Mary.
I was kind
I
of
treated
quoting
you
it
a bomb.
while he
Forgive
was
me and
reading.
forget. I was not wholly to blame, except that I allowed others to come between us. If he had come and said that, we could at least have been good friends. I have no patience with men who cannot stand up for themselves. Now, how much shall I tell Ralph? And she again read the letter through. Ralph, she said when he came in to dinner, you remember that letter I had this morning? Yes, I know, Mother. The one that made you turn so white. You said it was from an old friend. The why a letter from an old friend
Yes, it
should
is.
upset
So,
anyone what was it about, Mother? Well, my boy, it
honestly,
contains
so
a
much
pleasant piece of news.
happens.
Mr. Penfold, that is the name of the writer, was a friend of my family. He knew me long ago when we were young people, and at one time it seemed likely that we should be married.
Probably the main hook
However,
for
as you know,
me,
that never took place.
he goes out
However, it
fishing
seems, as he says
with a
by his
fisherman
letter,
friend of
that he has
his,
never altogether
and
forgotten me,
their ship
and he
gets
intends to help
hit
you on in life
by
if
a
you turn
French
out as he
ship
would
going
like
out
to
of
see you.
the,
He wishes you to
like
look out
going
to
through
stay
the
with him when your
the
holidays
canal.
begin.
With the
That
French
sounds
are at
nice,
war with the
Ralph said.
English, so
And
obviously they
if
can't
he
just
has
take
got
him
any
back.
boys about
So
my
he
own
just
age,
kind
it
of
would be
ends
very
up
pleasant.
stuck on the English ship
He has no
for like
children,
a
Ralph.
year
He is what you
or
might call an old
something,
bachelor, and lives with
and
his
then
sisters, or
he
rather they live with him.
eventually.
Well, that doesn't sound very
I
cheerful,
mean, he
Mother. An old
kind of
gentleman with two old
escapes,
ladies alone in
but
the house
also
can't
kind
make much
of,
fun.
like, everyone on the crew
He's
ended up
not an
liking
old
him.
gentleman, Ralph,
So when
Mrs. Conway said, almost
they were
angrily.
about to get caught
I
by
told you we were young
Englishmen,
people together.
um,
Still, it may not be very lively
they
for you,
decided,
but you
so they were
must put
going
up
to
with that.
end up
He evidently means to be
sacrificing
very kind to you,
two of the
and
crew
it will be a great
members so that
advantage to you
everyone
going
else,
down
like,
the
it was
stable.
like 3 ships of
But
crew,
what are you going to do
could
with yourself,
escape.
Mother, all alone here?
And
I
Ralph
think he might have asked you as well as me.
Ralph volunteered
Oh,
to
I shall do
stay,
very well,
and they're
Ralph.
like,
I have plenty of friends here.
you're a good kid.
But where does
We
Mr.
don't want to
Penfold
keep you
live,
like
Mother?
captive. Like obviously they haven't
Down
taken
in
him and put him in a
Dorsetshire.
prison
It's a
or
very
anything.
nice
They've been
place,
very
only
nice
about
to
a mile
him.
from the sea. But as I say, I do not expect you
So
will
they
find
wanted
it
him to be able to
lively.
get back to his
But
people,
that you mustn't mind.
and so
It'll be
he
a
gets
very good thing
volunteered
for
to
you,
stay
and
on
will
the
be well
island,
worth your while putting up with a little
and send
dullness for a
off
while.
a
Mr.
signal
Penfold
fire
is one of
when
the kindest of men, but I do not think you will like his sisters much.
stuff
Certainly
happens.
you
I
will
don't
not
remember
unless they are
exactly. I
a good
think
deal
the
changed from what they
Englishmen
were
were
as I
gonna
remember
come
them.
up and like
Still, you
sneak
must
attack
try
from
to
the other
get
side
on
of
with
the
them as well
island,
as you can.
and the
And I dare
French
say
were
you'll find
going
some pleasant
to the
companions
instant
many,
they
Mother.
started climbing
And
up,
I'm sure you'll do your best
send
when
a
I tell
signal
you
fire
that I am
to
most
the people
anxious
on
for
the
many
other side of
reasons
the
that
island
Mr. Penfold
for the
should like
French
you.
to get out of their the
Of course, I'll
cove
do
they were
my best,
hiding
Mother,
in,
though I must say that the lookout is not,
so that they
according to
could
your
actually get
description,
out to
very
sea and
cheerful one.
escape.
But I would a deal rather stop at
Um,
home with you.
and then
But
with
we can't always do
Ralph,
as we like, Ralph.
he made this French
Though that
friend.
is a lesson you have
I'm
as yet to
actually really
learn.
sad. I
What
don't
day
remember
did you say
his
your
name
holidays
right
begin?
now.
Next Monday week, Mother, but I do hope
I
I may
don't
have 2 or
remember.
3 days
It might
sailing
be
with
Jacques,
Joe Knight the fisherman
but I
before I
kind
go.
of feel like it's not.
Mr. Penfold says
But he made this
he'll be glad to
French
see you as
friend,
soon as
and
your
he's actually
holidays
the
begin,
one that
Ralph.
like helped him
Still, I
learn
suppose a day or
French,
two
because
will make no
obviously
difference.
Ralph
So
doesn't know
we'll settle that
French
you'll
at
go
the
up
time.
on Friday. As you go down
And
to school this afternoon, you'd better
he
tell
volunteers
Rogers
to
on the
stay
tail end to come up
with
this afternoon
Ralph,
to measure you for a suit of
because
clothes.
Ralph's like,
You must look
I will
decent when you go
advocate
down,
for you,
and you know he won't
and
accept you as
say
Sunday
that you
suits
got
with
left
nothing
behind
fit
and
to
weren't
wear in
actually
such a
with
house as
them
that.
and whatever. And so he
I'm
manages to
afraid
get
it's going to be a
him
horrible nuisance altogether,
kept out
Ralph
of
said
prison,
roughly.
so he doesn't have to go to
However, I
prison,
suppose it's got
which
to
is
be
cool,
done,
because
as
they're
you
at
say
war,
so,
so
Mother.
obviously he'd be a
Though it's
prisoner of war and go
heartbreaking
to
and on my
prison, and
holidays
that's
like
not
that,
cool.
you might just as well
Um,
have asked me in school time. One
and
could
then he
have put
gets
it ever
home,
so much better if he
and
took one out of old
stuff
Marshall's clutches for a
happens
bit. How long am I to stay
that's
there?
like not, I don't
I
remember
expect the greater
specifically.
part of your holidays, Ralph.
I
I
know
think he wants to
Herbert
get to know
dies,
all about you.
which is incredibly sad.
Ralph groaned loudly.
But Ralph and Herbert
Intend very kindly,
had kind of
but I wish
grown a
he'd
bit
keep his good
close over the
intentions to
summer,
himself.
because Ralph is going to go
You think so
stay
now,
with him.
Mrs.
That's what the
Conway
letter
said with
was
a
like,
smile.
hey, can he
You
come
won't
stay
think
with
so
me
when
for a
you're in
bit,
the
'cause I'd like
army,
to know your
but
son.
we'll find a little extra allowance or a Tip now.
It is. I know. Like, this is just like the beginning. Like, this is just a couple of chapters that this happens in. And then he goes off to fight in a different war, because the French-English War ended. But he goes off to fight in a different war, which I think might also still be with the French. Like, there was a truce, but then they're at war again. I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't with the French, but then he joins the military, and he's one of the 28th. That's his battalion. That's why that's the name of the book. Oh, hello! So yeah, no, it's a long book, but it's a good book, and like obviously I'm talking over it, so like you can't really hear it, but it is in the public domain. You can find it on oh no, what's it called?
Chapter 2.
I don't remember. Oh wow, that was just chapter 1. I didn't realize.
Mrs. Conway sat down to answer the letter. By no means an easy task.
I don't remember what it's called.
She sat with the paper before her for a long time before she began.
I'm listening to this on Canon Plus, but I've listened to other G.A. Henty books on a different platform. Hold on.
Into the ink and began. My dear Herbert Penfold, it's difficult to answer such a letter as yours. To say all one feels without saying too much, to express the gratitude with which one is full, but of which one feels that you do not desire the expression. First, a word as to the past.
Oh, Liverbox.
That is irreparable.
That's it.
Why should I not speak freely? We were the victims of a mistake. You were misled respecting me.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how long it took him to write this book, but he has a lot of books. Hold on, let me look it up actually, so now I'm curious.
Thus, my pride was perhaps as much responsible for what happened as your too easy credence of tales to my disadvantage. At any rate, believe me that
I'm going to assume that's not a good thing, Eclipse.
Now that I know the truth,
also, yes, hello, Kingston.
your life has been, as you say, spoiled by what can.
Okay, G.A. Henty wrote over 120 historical adventure novels.
No allusion to it in your letter.
I have read / listened to possibly 20 of them.
That you were the author. And I need hardly say how deeply
but they're really good. My favorites include one of the 28th, by Pike and Dyke, at Agincourt. I was actually debating with myself whether I was going to listen to at Agincourt or one of the 28th, because I love both of them. Through Russian Snows, definitely a favorite, and The Dragon and the Raven. Very good.
Or he could take passage perhaps in a coaster. He is very fond of the sea. We had settled that he should
I don't know. I know, because these books are all in the public domain. Because he died, like, the writer died, not just, like, that was when he wrote his last book. No, he died over 100 years ago. Like, hold on, actually, let me look him up. Let me look that up.
I earnestly hope and trust that the doctors may be mistaken in your case. That you may have a long life before you.
Yeah, no, G.A. Henty is definitely one of my favorite historical authors. You know, he...
I remain your grateful and affectionate
Oh my goodness. He died
a fortnight later, Ralph Conway took his place
at 69 years old.
As to the visit to this unknown friend of his mother,
so, like, he didn't even, like, live to 100 and write 120 books. No. He died before he was 70 in 1902. It was a long time ago.
A more important one than a journey half over Europe would be at the present time. In his pocket he carried a piece of paper on which his mother had carefully written down the instructions.
Oh, I forgot that one was a G.A. Henty book. Winning His Spurs is a very good book. It's about a young knight that wins his spurs, obviously. But, like...
or any other misfortune happened.
Baby! Hello!
Under the seat was a small basket filled with
you haven't responded to my texts. Hi.
As his place had been booked
yes, it is crazy.
He had the advantage of an outside seat. Next to him was a fat woman who was going up to town, as she speedily informed her fellow passengers, to meet her husband, who was...
What was that in front of your high B?
I saw you look at today, she said.
And now it just says hi. I don't know. You should definitely look at the books, because they are incredibly good books. It's okay, I am not judging you, B. I'm not judging at all. You missed our writing session that we had planned, which is fine. Again, not
Well,
judging.
what? It seems to me, ma'am, that it is you who are scrooging me.
You okay?
This rail is almost cutting into my side now. Well, we mustn't live and live, the woman said philosophically. You may think your star's nature hasn't made you as big as I am. Little people have their advantages. But we can't have everything our own way. That's
Oh,
what
yeah,
tells
no,
my
same.
There's
Definitely.
always a wanting to have his own way. And that should be every captain.
No.
But as
What
I
day would
tells
we
him,
change
it's
it to,
only
B?
reasonable as he is captain on board his ship.
Or maybe we should text about this and not, like, talk over here.
I
But,
suppose
like,
you
yeah.
come to school?
Yeah, no, definitely 100
No,
good
I'm
books.
not. My
Because,
school
like,
is just over.
quality
Going
over
all the way up
quantity,
to
right?
London. Yes. Oh, that's a mercy, the woman said.
No,
I was
don't
afraid you might be
die,
only going as
B.
far as Canterbury, and then I might have got
Don't
some
do
big
that.
chap up here that squeeze me as flat
Yeah,
as
we
a
should.
pancake.
Well, we should do that.
And so I'm thoughtful.
Maybe you could text
Seems
me,
to think as
like,
women can stand
days and
themselves way
times that would
anyways.
work for you.
I wish you'd feel and get your hand in my pocket,
I think
young
the
man.
only evening I
can't do
can't
it
do
nohow, and I ain't sure
specifically
that I've got my keys
is
with me. That
Fridays.
girl Eliza will be getting
Or
the
actually,
bottles, and I haven't
I
met
could
him.
do
And then
Fridays
there'll
if
be
we
a nice
started
to
at
do for the
7.
lodgers. Can't you find it?
So maybe I could do
Oh,
any
somewhere.
evening.
With much difficulty,
No,
Ralph
I
found
can't do
what to
Wednesdays.
hold and thrust his hand
I can't do
in.
Wednesdays because sometimes we
He
have
was
church
able
things
to
on
reassure
Wednesdays.
his neighbor by feeling among a mass of odds and ends a bunch of keys. No, that's a comfort, the woman said. If one's mind
What's a
wasn't at
Medu,
ease, one
Kingston?
can't enjoy traveling. I wish my body was at ease,
Thank
Ralph
you,
said.
B.
Don't you think you could squeeze them a little on the other side and give me an inch or two more room? Well, I'll try, the woman said. As you seem a civil sort of boy.
I just realized I haven't been drawing
Whereupon she
because I've been
gave 2 or 3
distracted.
heaves, which
Also, of the fact that
involved
Ashley
her in
has
an
no ear
altercation with a
in
neighbor
that
on
one.
the other side,
It's just, it's
which
hiding.
lasted
You
till
can't
the
see it
towers
from
of
this angle.
Canterbury
It's
came in
fine.
sight. Here they changed horses at the Fountain Inn.
Okay, let's see.
Look here, my
I'm
boy, the
trying to
woman
do
said
her
to Ralph.
sweater.
If you feel
No.
underneath my feet, you'll find a basket, and at the top there's an empty bottle.
G.A. Henty. Let me actually put it in here so you can get the G.
And girl Eliza flustered me so much with her word and questioning before I started that I
That
had
is
no
the
time
wrong
to fill
key.
it.
I got a new
Ralph
laptop
jumped down and
recently, and the
procured
keys are
desired
slightly different
refreshment
spaced.
and was
Like
just in
the
time to
keyboard's
clamber into his
bigger,
seat again when the coach
so
started.
I'm struggling a little
He
bit
enjoyed
like
the rapid
with my
motion of
finger
the changing scene
placings
much, but he
because it's
was
not as
sorry when
like
his
it's not right
evening
where
was
it's
coming
supposed to
on.
be.
He saw ahead of him a dull mist, which his fellow passenger told him was the smoke of London. It was 9 in the evening when the coach drove into the courtyard of the Bull Inn.
Oh,
The guard
meta.
who had received instructions from Mrs. Conway
What's
at once
meta?
gave Ralph and his box into the charge of one of the porters awaiting the arrival of the coach, and told him to take the box.
I mean, like,
to the
I
inn,
know what,
which the
I think I
coach
know what
from
you mean
Weymouth
when you say
started
meta.
in the
But,
morning.
like, what are you referring to as meta?
Cramped by his 14 hours journey, Ralph had at first some difficulty in following his conductor through the crowded street, but the stiffness soon wore off, and after 10 minutes walking, he arrived at the inn. The guard had already paid the porter, having received the money for that purpose from Mrs. Conway, and the latter, setting down
No, I
the
mean, what are
box in
you
the passage,
referring
once went off.
to? But also, yeah,
Ralph
I
felt
don't
a
know
little
what that
forlorn
is.
and wondered what he was to do next.
Okay,
But a minute
I'm not
later, the
sure I'll
landlady
finish it
came out from
tonight
the bar.
because it's getting
"You
kind of
want a
late.
bed?" she asked.
But I
"The porter should have
will.
rung the bell.
Love you,
I'm afraid
Modibra.
we have full unless it's
Sleep
been
well.
taken beforehand. However, I'll see if I can make a shift somehow.
Hope
I should
work
very
can be
much
less
obliged if you can. Ralph said, for I don't know
hectic
anything
for
about
you.
London, and I'm going on by the
Oh.
Weymouth coach in the morning. What's your name,
Oh.
Conway?
Yeah, I didn't
Yes,
know that.
that's my name, Ralph said, surprised.
I did not
Well,
know that.
there is a bedroom taken for you. A gentleman came 3 days ago and took it, saying it was for a young gent who's going through to Weymouth.
I am still writing,
Take this box up to
but
number 12. Supper's ready for you. I dare
I
say
was-
it's like a wash first. That
I don't know.
Ralph replied,
I have
following
been
the
writing
boots
very
upstairs.
consistently recently.
In a few minutes he returned
I'm trying to
with
work on that though. That's
breakfast
actually
with
B
coffee.
and I are working
In a
on
short
that,
time, a
trying to
supper
be
consisting of
consistent.
fish, a steak, and tea was placed before him. Ralph
And
fell to
yes,
vigorously in the care that had been
I am
bestowed by
so
Mr.
sorry,
Penfield
Eclipse
in securing
and
a bedroom and ordering
Kingston.
supper for him greatly raised him in the boy's estimation.
I don't know.
And he looked forward with warmer anticipations than he had hitherto done to his visit.
Don't know what
to
that
Mr.
says about
Penfold.
me, but no, I do
As soon
not.
as he'd finished, he went off to bed, and in a few minutes was sound asleep.
I guess that's the question though. Does
At
it say more
6:30
about
he
me
was
or
called
more
in
about
after a hearty
you?
breakfast
Or
and
more
took a
about
seat on the
both?
outside of the Weymouth coach. Sitting
I don't
beside
know
him
what
were 4
Ray-Ban is
sailors
either.
belonging, as he soon learned,
Is
to a
that what the...
privateer lying at Weymouth.
Never mind, I'm not even going
They
to
had a
say
long
that.
trip
I'm
and
going
had
to
been
feel
some
even more
months at
stupid.
sea. And as their ship was to lie for a fortnight
This
at
is
Weymouth while
fascinating
some
though,
repairs were
just so
being
you
done
know.
to it, they'd
I
obtained
love
a
learning
week's
new
leave and
things.
had ran up to London for a spree. Weymouth
I
during the war had a
actually
brisk trade and was a favorite
kind of really
rendezvous for
like
privateers
how,
who preferred
like,
to
her
break into
jaw
Portsmouth
turned
and
out.
Plymouth
when I
with the
drew
rest of
this.
their
Like,
men
I drew
being
this a while
dressed
ago,
to
so,
make
like,
up the
I don't
quota
know.
of some man of war just fitted out to Barry Gray.
Okay.
The sailors were rather silent and sulky at first, at the cruise on land being nearly over. But after getting off the coach, where it changed horses, they recovered their spirits and amused Ralph greatly with their talk about the various prizes they'd taken, and one or
Oh,
two
thanks,
sharp
drawing.
brushes with French privateers. Toward evening, they became rather hilarious.
Hey,
When
drawing,
the
I don't
last
think
two
I've
hours dozed
actually
quiet,
asked
the
before,
man sitting next to
but
Ralph
do you
lurching
prefer
against
to
him
be
heavily
called
in his sleep,
drawing, or do you have a
and
different name you
swearing
prefer
loudly
me
when the
calling
boy
you?
stuck his elbow into his ribs to relieve himself of the weight. Ralph was not sorry, therefore, when at 10 o'clock at night the coach arrived at Weymouth. The landlord and servants came out with lanterns to help the passengers to alight. And the former, as Ralph climbed down the side into the circle of light, asked, "Are you Master Conway?"
You,
"That's
Master
my name,"
Conway.
Ralph replied.
That's my name.
"A bed has been taken for you, sir, and a trap will be over here at 9 o'clock in the morning to take you to Penfold Hall." Supper was already prepared for such passengers as were going to sleep in the hotel, but Ralph was too sleepy to want to eat, and had made a good meal when the coach stopped at 6 o'clock for 20 minutes to allow the passengers time for refreshments. At 8 o'clock the next morning he breakfasted. When he'd finished, the waiter told him that the trap had arrived a few minutes before, and that the horse had been taken out to have a feed, but would be ready to start at 9. Ralph took a stroll for half an hour by the sea, and then returned. The trap was at the door, and his trunk had already been placed in it.
I'm
The
so
driver, a man
dumb,
of 23 or 24, was,
because I know
as he
your second
presently told Ralph,
channel, so
the
I should have
stable
known
helper at
that,
Penfold
right?
Hall. "I generally drive this trap
That's
when it's
cool.
in
So,
wanted," he said.
drawing is
"The coachman's
okay, but
pretty
would you
old now. He's
prefer
been
Ellie?
in the family well nigh 50
Or
years.
just call you drawing?
He's all right behind the
Like when
carriage
you're using
horses, he
this
says, but
account.
doesn't like trusting himself in a pair-wheel trap." "How far is it?" Ralph asked. "No matter of 15 miles. Be a lot shorter if you'd got off last night at the nearest point the coach goes to, but the master told the coachman that he thought it'd be pleasanter for you to come on here
Yeah,
than
I'll
to arrive
probably
there tired and sleepy
end
after
up
dark."
just going with drawing then,
"Yes, it'll be much more
because,
pleasant. The road was
like,
very dirty,
obviously
and I
I
should not
forgot
like to arrive
that
in a
you
strange
have a pen
house
name.
that my clothes were
Um,
covered with dust,
I'm kind
and
of
so sleepy that
dumb
I
a
could
little
hardly
bit
keep my eyes open,
sometimes.
especially as I headed
Or
west of
not dumb.
Penfields.
I have a
Sisters
lot
are
of people who
rather
keep telling me not to
particular."
say stuff like that.
"Bother ain't the word," the driver said. "They
My
are
brain has too
particular,
much
no
going
mistake.
on, and it forgets
I don't believe
things.
as a master would notice whether the carriage was dirty or clean, but if there's a speck of dirt about, they are sure enough to notice it. Not that they're bad mistresses,
Okay,
but
now I've
look
gotta
'em up, I
ask,
can tell you.
what
Pretty sharp.
specifically did you
I'll
hear?
say that it ain't as
Because
well
there's a
as
bit
they
of lag
do, for the
between what I'm
master never
saying and
seems
what's
to care
appearing
one
on
way or
my
the other,
screen for what you
and
guys are
lets
saying
things
in the
go
chat.
anyhow.
So I don't
Nice
actually know
gentleman
where
he is,
you
but I don't
guys
see much of
are
it.
in what I'm
And he don't
saying
drive in the carriage
and what's
not once
going
a
on,
month,
like,
and
on
only then when
the
he's going to the court
story
of magistrates.
and stuff.
He just walks about the garden morning and evening, and all the rest of the time he's shut up in the library with his books. It's a pity he don't go out more. Are there any families about
No,
boys?"
that's the
Ralph
wrong
asked.
color.
"No, not as I knows of. None of
Oh,
them as ever comes to the hall, anyway. It's a pity there ain't some young ones
pretty
around
sure
to wake up the place and make it lively.
that's supposed to
It'd
be
give us a
hair
lot
colored.
more work to do, I don't doubt, but we
Could
shouldn't
be
mind
wrong.
that.
Could
I've heard
be.
it used to be different in
Probably
the old
not, though.
squire's time, but it's always been so as long as I can remember. I don't live at the house, but down at the village. Jonesy lives over the stables, and there ain't no occasion to have
I don't know that
more
I'd
than
say
there.
the timing is
But there's only the
off,
2 carriage horses in this.
but, like,
How far is the sea from the house?"
so think of it this way.
"Oh,
I
it's
say
about a half a
something,
mile to the top
and
of the
then
cliff and a precious long climb
my
down to the water. But
my
go around
tablet
West
that I'm
Swanage,
streaming off
that's
of
about
picks it
3
up
miles.
and then
You'll drive
streams
down
it at
close
the
to the
same
sea
time
for
like
that
the
little cliffs
audio,
there."
not the audio, sorry, the visual
There
is
was nothing more
streaming.
said during the drive.
So, like,
From time to time, the man
what I'm
pointed out the
saying, what I'm
various
drawing
villages and
will sync
country
up in the
seats,
live.
and Ralph
But then
wondered to
you
himself how he should
guys,
manage to pass the
because
next
it has
3
to, like,
weeks.
get, like,
It
it's
seemed
the
that there'd
internet,
be
I
nothing
guess,
to
and, like,
do and no one
travel
to
to
talk
wherever
to.
you guys are.
He'd always
I
been
don't
accustomed
know,
to the
like, the actual
companionship of lots
jargon
of
for
boys
that.
of his own age.
But it does its thing,
And during the
and it gets
holidays,
to
there
you
was plenty
guys,
of
and that
sailing
takes
and
a couple
fishing,
seconds.
so that time had
And
never hung
then
on his
you
hands.
guys will
The
respond to
present
something and say
prospect,
something in the
therefore,
chat,
almost appalled him.
and you'll send that, and
However,
then
he had
that'll take a
promised his
couple more
mother
seconds
that
to
he'd
get to
try to make
me.
the best of things.
So
And he
yeah,
tried to assure himself that
that's a
after
good way to
all,
say it.
3
Eclipse
weeks
where
or a
it's
month would
delayed.
be over at last.
It takes a few seconds.
After an hour
It
and a
just
half's
takes a little
drive,
bit.
they passed through a large gate into a park.
So
And in a few minutes,
it's
joined
not
with
like
the entrance of
horrible.
Penfold
I can
Hall.
generally
An
guess
old
what
servant
people are
came out.
referring to,
"Will you come with me into
but
the library, sir?
I
Mrs.
mean, I've been
Penfold's
talking
expecting
and
you.
we're listening to a
Your box
book,
will be taken up
and
into your
Eclipse
room."
did not specify
Ralph
what
felt extremely
Eclipse heard.
uncomfortable as he
I'm
followed his
sorry, I don't
conductor
actually
across
know
a noble hall,
if
floored with
you're a
dark
guy or a
polished
girl.
oak and paneled with the same material.
So,
A door opened and a servant
I don't know.
announced, Master Conway. A gentleman rose from
But
his
yeah,
chair
I don't know
and
what
held out his
Eclipse
hand.
heard. And then saw
I am
something
glad to see
gory on
you,
their
Ralph
game.
Conway, and I hope your
Guy.
journey is
Okay,
pretty
cool.
comfortable.
Cool. Because I almost
It's
referred
very
to
good of
you
you to
as
come
a
such
hoe,
a
so
long
that would have been
distance to pay
awkward.
me a visit.
uh,
Never wanted me to, sir,
yeah.
Ralph said honestly. I don't
So,
think.
I don't know what he was doing.
You don't think you'd have come of your own accord?
I don't know what you were.
No,
Oh,
that's
you were
natural
talking
enough,
about
my
Meta,
lord.
Kingston.
At your age, I'm sure I
And,
should not care to give up my holidays and spend them
hold
in a
on.
quiet house
Let me
among
scroll back
strangers.
up.
However,
Meta
I wanted to see you, and I'm very glad you've
and
come.
something
I'm an old
else.
acquaintance of your mother's, you know, and so desired to make the acquaintance of her son. I think you are like her, he said, putting his hand on Ralph's shoulder and taking
And
him to the
Ray-Ban,
window
I
and looking
think.
steadily
I
at
think
him.
was the other thing.
Yes, other people have said so, sir, but I'm sure I can't be like her a bit. Mother is so pretty, and I'm sure I'm not the least bit in the world, and I don't think it's nice for a boy to be like a woman. This was rather a sore point with Ralph, who had a smooth, soft face with large eyes and long eyelashes, and who had in consequence been nicknamed Sally by his schoolfellows. The name had stuck to him in spite of several desperate fights,
Oh,
and the
I
fact
forgot
that
to
in
do
point of
her
strength and
things.
activity he was fully a
Side
match for any
things?
boy of his own age.
I don't even know what to call
But as
these.
there was nothing like derision conveyed
The
by
thing.
it, and it was
Things
indeed a term of
that
affection rather
exist.
than of contempt, Ralph had at
Oh
last
yes,
ceased
Coaster
to
Mayhem.
struggle against it. But he longed for the time when the
Oh, this
sprouting of
feels like
whiskers would
me
obliterate
going on
the
a rabbit
obnoxious
trail
smoothness of his
rant.
face.
Totally get
Mr.
that.
Penfold had smiled at his remark.
It's like, what was I talking about?
I do not like girlish boys,
I'm
Ralph.
sure I'll get
But
back
a
to
boy
it
can have a girlish
eventually.
face and yet be a true boy all over. And I fancy that's your case. I hope so, sir. I think I could swim or run or fight any of the chaps of my own age in the school. But I know I do look girlish about the face. I've done everything I could to make my face rough. I've sat in the sun and wetted it with seawater every 5 minutes. But it's no use.
He's like, yes, let me damage my
Your face will get
skin.
manly enough in time, you may be sure.
That's a great
And I
idea.
like you all the better for it, my boy, because you are certainly very like your mother. And now, Ralph, I want you to enjoy yourself as much as you can while you're here. The house itself is dull, but I suppose you'll be a good deal
I
outdoors.
have
I've hired a
thought.
pony, which will be here
Goodness,
today.
that was not what I was
And
trying
I've
to. Like,
arranged
what
with
is that?
Watson, the fisherman at Swanage,
It's late,
that you
so
can go out with him in his fishing boat
my
whenever you
mouth
would
isn't making the
dispose.
sounds I'm trying to make it
It's
to.
3 miles from here that you can ride over on your
I
pony
have
and leave it at the Bull
thought
Inn
of
after you come
using
back.
AI before.
I'm sorry to
But
say I do not know any boys about here.
I
But
mean,
Mabel Withers,
I
the
have
daughter of my
used
neighboring
AI
friend, the
occasionally
clergyman of
when
Millstone, the village just
I
outside the
have
lodge,
an idea,
has a pony
but
and is a
I'm
capital
struggling to
rider,
figure
and
out
I'm
like
sure she'll show you over the country.
how
I
to get
suppose
it to
you've
come
not had much to
across.
do with girls, he added with a smile and
And I
seeing a
have
slight expression of dismay on Ralph's face,
like
which
typed it
had
into
expressed
AI and like,
unmixed
hey, could you help
satisfaction
me
in the
with
first
this?
items of the program.
But I'm gonna be
No, sir,
completely
not
honest.
much, Ralph said. Of course, some of my
I've never
schoolfellows have
liked
sisters,
any of them
but one does not see much
enough
from
to
them.
actually keep them and use
Oh, I
them.
think you'll get on
I
very well
have.
together. She's a year or two younger than you are, and I'm
There was
afraid she's
one
considered
story I
rather a
did.
tomboy.
Well, actually,
She's been caught at the top of a tall tree
I'm
examining
not
the
sure I
eggs in a
finished it.
nest, and in many similar ungirl-like positions.
I was
So
writing.
you won't find her a dull companion.
You know, I don't
She's a
think I
great pet
actually
of mine,
finished
and
it. Now that I'm
though she
thinking
may
about
not
it,
be as good
I
a
was
companion as a
writing
boy would be for you, I'm
a.
sure when you once get to know her, you'll find her a very good
What's it
substitute.
called? An
You see,
alternate
not having
fairy
had much
tale?
to do with
A
boys,
fairy
I'm
tale
not very good
retelling.
at
That's what it
devising
was.
amusement
I was
for you.
writing a fairy
I
tale
can only say that if
retelling
there is anything you'd
of
like to do while you're here, you have
Icarus,
only to tell me.
like
And
Icarus
if
and
it be possible,
Daedalus.
I'll put
I
you on
don't
the
think
way
I
of it.
finished it, because if I
Thank
finished
you
it, I
very
would have
much, sir.
read
You
it
are
onto my
extremely
channel
kind, Ralph said
over
heartily.
like a voiceover
But with
for
a
a video,
pony and a
and I
boat,
don't
it
think
did
I
seem
did.
that his visit would not be nearly so
Unless I
dull
did.
as he had
Let me.
anticipated. I'm sure I shall
Wait,
get on
actually.
capitally. Just at this moment, there was a knock at the door. It opened, and a girl entered. Ah, you've just come at the right moment,
And
Mabel, Mr.
I
Penfold
couldn't
said as
figure
she
out
came in.
how I wanted to do it.
This is Ralph
So I
Conway, of
asked
whom I was
AI for a
speaking
little
to you.
bit of help.
Ralph, this is
And
Mabel
I
Withers.
didn't like it.
I asked her
So
to come
I
in
ended
early
up
this
just
morning
writing
so
it
as to act
myself.
as your guide
And
round
I
the
think
place.
I did do a couple, like, I
The boy and
referenced
girl
back
shook hands
to
with
the
each other.
AI
She was the first
thing
to
a
speak.
few times, because, yeah,
So you
it
are
told
Ralph.
the
I've been
story,
wondering what
kind
you
of.
look
I didn't
like.
like how it told the
Uncle
story.
has
It
been
wasn't how I
telling me you
wanted
were
it to
coming. I
be.
like your looks, and I think
So,
you're nice. Ralph was
you
taken
know,
rather
it's just,
aback. This was
it's
not
just
the way
one of
in
those
which his
things.
schoolfellows' sisters had generally addressed him.
I know some
Oh,
people
I think you look
use
jolly,
it,
he said,
and
and that's
that's,
better than looking nice.
you know, that's
Oh, I think
their
they mean the
choice.
same
I'm
thing,
assuming
she
because
replied,
you're
except that a
asking you've
girl
at
says
least
nice
thought
and
of
a boy
it,
says jolly.
or maybe
I
do
like the
use
word
it.
jolly best, only
It's
I
just
get
not
scolded
something
when
I would
use it.
do.
Shall we go into the
Yeah, I
garden?
looked on my channel. I have not read
Although
it, so
Ralph
I didn't
Conway had
finish
a
it.
very much pleasanter time than he had anticipated. Except at meals, he
Yeah,
saw
sorry,
little
that
of
was
the Miss
rambling.
Penfolds, His opinions as to these
Uh,
ladies, expressed confidentially to Mabel
yeah.
Withers, were of course flattering.
It's just, yes, I've
I
thought
think,
of
he
it, but
said, that
no,
they were
I
the two
will
most
not be using
disagreeable
it.
old cats I have ever met.
Um,
They hardly ever open their lips, and
I
when they
suppose
do,
on
it's only to
occasion
answer
I
some
might use
question of
it
their
to
brother.
get some inspiration.
I remember in a
But I
fairy story there was a
prefer
girl who,
just
whenever
real
she
human
spoke, let
input
fall
because
pearls and diamonds from her lips.
there's just something about
Whenever those
AI
women
that's
open
it's
their
just
mouths, I
missing
expect
something.
icicles and daggers to
To
drop
borrow
out.
French, it's just
Oh, they're not as
it's
bad as that,
missing
Mabel laughed. I generally get on with them very well,
je
and
ne
they
sais
are
quoi.
very kind and parish. And altogether, they're really not bad. Then their looks belie them
I've never
horribly,
heard of
Ralph said.
Claude, I don't think.
I suppose they don't like me, and that would be
My
all
dad
well
likes
enough if I had done anything
ChatGPT
to
for
offend them.
stuff.
But it
Like,
was
not
just
really
as bad the
creative
first
stuff,
day I
because he
came.
doesn't.
I'm sure
Well,
Mr. Penfold does not like it.
he
I can see him
says,
fidget
well,
in his
he's
chair, and
told
he
me a bit
talks
about an
away with
idea
me
he
very
has
well
for a
all the
story,
time
but I
over
don't
a
think he's
table,
actually written
so
anything
as to
for
make
it,
it less
so
awkward.
I don't know.
At least
But,
that's what
like,
I
I know he's
suppose.
used AI to
Well,
write,
I'm stopping with him, and not with them, and
we
that's
played
one thing.
D&D,
And it doesn't make much difference to me if
and,
they do choose to be
uh,
disagreeable. I like
he
him
used
immensely.
AI to
He's
write the
wonderfully
backstory for
kind,
his character.
but it would be
Oh,
all
hello,
wasted good
welcome
work if
back.
it weren't for you, Mabel. I don't think I could
Where'd you
stand it
go?
if it were not for our rides together. The young people had indeed got on capitally from
Yeah.
the first. Every day they took long rides together, generally alone, although sometimes Mr. Penfold rode with them. Ralph had already confided to the
I love
latter
how I
upon
keep
his
getting
asking him how
distracted
he
and I'm
liked
not
Mabel.
getting anywhere with
She
my
was the
drawing.
jolliest girl he'd ever met.
Also, I
She
don't
has
remember
no
what I did
nonsensical
with
girl
her
ways
earbud
about her,
to make
Mr.
it look
Penfold,
like that.
but is almost as
Kind of
good as a
cool.
boy to be with. Girls I've seen
Ah,
before
fun.
are quite different from that. Some of them always giggle when you speak to them. Others have not got a word to say for themselves, and it's awfully hard work talking to them, even for a single dance.
Not to change the subject,
Still,
but I
I like
love how
them better
Ralph's
than the
just like,
giggling ones.
ugh,
You
girls.
see, Ralph, girls brought up in a town
The
are naturally
entire
different
time.
to one like Mabel. They go to school and are taught to sit upright and to behave discreetly and to be generally unnatural. Mabel has been brought up at home and allowed to do as she liked, and she has consequently grown up to be what nature intended her to be. Perhaps someday all girls will be allowed the same chance of being natural that boys have, and backboards and other contrivances for stiffening them and turning them into little wooden figures will be unknown. It'll be a good thing, in
I
my
hate
opinion,
colds. I
when
can't
that
breathe
time
through my
arrives.
nose.
Ralph was often down at the rectory, where he was always made welcome. Mr. Withers and his wife being anxious to learn as much of his disposition as they could, they were well satisfied with the result. I fancy I know what's in Penfold's mind, the rector had said to his wife a few days after Ralph came down. I believe he is already quite settled in his mind that someday Mabel and this lad shall make a match of it.
Oh, this
How
character, this is
absurd,
Ashley.
John. Why, Mabel's only a child.
Unless you're talking
Quite so,
about the
my
book
dear, but in
character that
another
we are
3 or
listening
4
to.
years she'll be a young woman.
You should probably
I don't mean that
clarify before I
Penfold has
go
any
on a
idea that
rant.
they're going to take a fancy to each other at present, only
That'd be
they will do
awkward to
so
be
in the
ranting
future.
about the wrong character.
You know, he said that he intends to leave a slice of his fortune to her, and I have no doubt that this lad will get the main bulk of his property. I've often told you about his engagement to the lad's mother and how the breaking it off has affected his whole life. It's natural that a lonely man, as he is, should plan for others. He has no future of his own to look forward to, so he looks forward to someone else's.
Oh, it's so
He's had no interest in
sad.
life for a great many years, and I think he's making a
Ah,
meaning
okay.
for himself in the future
This
of
is
a young
Ashley.
girl and this lad.
She is the
As far as I've seen of the boy,
semi-adopted,
I like him.
self-adopted
He's evidently a
little
straightforward,
sister
manly
to a
man.
character named
I don't
Aiden,
mean
who
to
is
say
the
that he
main
has any
character of the
exceptional
book that
amount of
she is
brains
in.
or is likely to set the table on
I
fire, but
actually
if he
no.
comes into the Penfold
I
property,
drew her. I drew him, and I think he's
not
got a
be
video
much
on the channel,
importance.
maybe, or
He
maybe
seems
not,
bright,
because I
good-tempered,
have
and a
quite a few
gentleman,
characters that
and
I've
that's
drawn
why
and just
good enough
haven't
to
actually
begin with.
gotten onto the channel yet,
At
which
any
is
rate, there's
totally
nothing for
my
us to
bad.
trouble about. If
But
someday the young people get to like
no,
each other, the
he
prospects are good for the
self-adopted her.
child.
I was
No,
just like,
there's no harm
yeah,
done.
no, you need a big brother. I'm
At
gonna be your
present,
big
there
brother
can be
now.
no
And it's
objection
really
to our
sweet.
yielding to Penfold's
Um,
request and letting them ride about the country together.
she ends up
Mabel is, as
actually
you
being
say, a little more than
adopted,
a child.
adopted by
It's
her
evident
dad,
that the lad
his dad.
regards her rather in the light of a boy companion than as a
Um,
girl. And she is a bit of a
and
tomboy, you know, Mary, and has very
uh,
few girlish notions or ideas. They evidently get on capitally together, and we need not worry
yeah,
our heads about them. Let things go their own way with a
I
clear
don't have
conscience.
Aiden on the channel, I guess.
At the end of the time
Oh well.
agreed upon, Ralph returned home. And so, Ralph, you have found it
Like,
better
as
to
you
expect
can
if
tell
his
by
mother
the
said to
earbuds,
him
she
at the
likes listening
conclusion
to
of his
music.
first meal at
Or I
home.
guess not, because like
Oh, much better,
sometimes
Mother. Mr.
people
Penfold
wear
is awfully
earbuds to
kind
like
and
listen
lets
to
one live just
audiobooks
for
or
one
like
night.
podcasts or
His
something.
sisters
But she
are
likes
heedful
listening to
women,
music
and if I
specifically.
had not been staying in the house, I should certainly have played them
She's
something
kind of a
rather
more
just up their
somber
plow.
character.
I wonder why they disliked me so
but
much. I could see it directly I arrived.
she's got a sense
But
of
after all, it
humor.
didn't
It's just
matter
a bit
much
more
except just
sassy
at meals in the
than,
evening.
like,
But Mr. Penfold
Aiden's
was
sense
so
of humor
kind.
is a lot
It
more
would have been
jovial,
very
I
stupid
guess.
if it had not been
Him
for
and
Mabel
Steve.
Withers.
Steve's his best
We
friend.
used to
He's
ride
great.
out
I
and
love
go for
Steve.
walks together every day. She's a capital walker. A very jolly one, just as good as a boy. She said several times that she wished she'd been a boy, and I wished so too. Still, of course, Mother, I'm very glad I'm
blanking.
back. There is no place like home.
I'm not sure if you want to know
And then
more
there are
if
the
I'm
fellas
just
at school and
rambling.
the games and the sea and all sorts of things. And it's a
I
horrid
think she
nuisance
likes
to think that
coffee.
got
I've
to
got her
have that
having coffee
regularly
with
for my
someone
holidays.
before. Or actually,
Still, of course, as you wish it, I will do so.
no,
And
I
now
drew
that
someone
I
else
know
having
what it's
coffee
like,
with someone else.
it
I
won't be so bad another
received
time.
a drawing of her having
Anyway,
coffee with
I'm
someone,
glad
though.
I have got another 10 days
I love
before
that
school
drawing.
begins.
It's one of my favorites.
Following morning, Ralph went down to the beach. Why, Mr.
Okay.
Conway, an old fisherman said, you're a downright stranger. I've missed you rarely. I told you I was going away, Joe, and that I shouldn't get back until the holidays were nearly
Joe!
over.
I love
Well, I
Joe.
know you did, the fisherman replied. Still, it does seem strange without you. Every time as I goes out, I says to Bill, if Master Conway was at home, he'd be with us today.
Mr. Conway was
Bill, it
home.
don't seem no ways natural without him. And there's been good fishing, too, this season, first rate. And the weather has been just what it should be. But I'm back now, Joe, anyway. And I've got 10 days before school begins again, and I mean to make the most of it. Are you going out today? At 4 o'clock, the fisherman said. Daylight fishing ain't much good just now. We eat twice as
My
many as
voice
night.
decided to
No
leave.
trouble with the Frenchies. Oh, Lord bless you, I ain't seen a French sail for months. Our cruisers are too sharp for 'em, and though they say a good many privateers run in and out of their ports in spite of all we can do, and a lot of our ships get snapped up.
What was I doing?
But we don't trouble about it.
Oh, yes, I was
Bless
clipping
your
it.
heart. One of them was to run across us. They'd only just take a fish and as like as not
Snip,
pay
snip.
us.
Oh, here
Or
we
them with
go.
a cask or two of spirits. Fish is a treat to them Frenchies, but their fishing boats have to keep so close over to their own shores that they can't take much. Besides, all the best fishermen are away in the privateers, and the lads to go fight Boney's battles with the Austrians or Russians or Spanish or our chaps. Or else to go on board their
What's
ships of war and
APK?
spend all their time cooped up in harbor. But they're scarce shown now beyond the range of the guns of their forts. Well, will you come this evening? Yes, I think so, Joe. My mother doesn't much care about my being out at night, you know. But as I've been away all this time to please her, I expect she'll let me do what I like for the rest of the holidays. Don't you come if your mother don't like it, Master Conway. There's never no good comes of boys vexing their mothers. I've known misfortune to follow it over and over again. Boys think as they know best what's good for them, but they don't.
You know,
And sooner or later, they're sure to own it to themselves.
I think Joe
Oh, I shouldn't
might
do
be
it if I knew she
clairvoyant.
really didn't like it, Joe, but I
That
don't
might
think
not be
she
the word
does
I'm
mind
looking
my going out with you at any time. She knows she can trust you. Besides, what harm could come of it? You never go out in very rough weather. We're pretty roughish sometimes, Master Conway. Oh, yes, pretty rough, but not in a gale, you know. Besides, the Heartsease could stand a goodish gale. She's not very fast,
Yeah, no, that's
you
the
know,
word I
but
was
she is
looking
as
for.
safe as a house.
Ironically,
She's
derived
fast
from
enough,
French.
the old fisherman said in a ninja tone.
It
You young gentleman
is
is never
a
content unless
shells.
it's boats heeling over gunwale
It's
under
good though.
and passing everything she comes across. What's the good of that air to a fisherman? He goes out to catch fish, not to strain his craft all over by running races
Okay.
against one another. Now, an hour faster or slower makes no difference, and the Heartsease is fast enough for me.
Now
anyhow.
for shading and background.
No, she
Ooh,
isn't,
should the
Joe.
background
I've
be
heard you use
like
bad language enough when
like
anything overhauls and passes
a shade
on
of
the way
pink,
back
I
and
think.
forth.
Don't ask me why. I'm
That
bad
may
with
be,
colors.
the fisherman admitted.
Tell me if it
On the
looks
way home,
awful.
grant
I will
you
not
that
be
a little
offended.
more speed might be an advantage. For the first comer, sure to get the
But
best
I'm
market.
thinking
No,
a shade
the
of pink.
Heartsease ain't very fast. I own up to that. But she is safe, she is steady, and she
Like,
has plenty of
fuchsia.
storage room and a good
Like that.
roomy cabin as you can stand upright in. And needn't break your back by stooping.
I don't like
She
that.
happens to avoid some craft I could name.
Wait,
Now that's true
darker?
enough, Joe, the boy said.
like that?
But what's more, she's a lucky boat, for it's seldom that she goes
Maybe
out
a
without
bit
getting a good catch.
darker?
Oh, I think that's more judgment than luck, Joe. Though there may be some luck in it, too.
I'm
I don't know
using...
about that, Master Conway. Of course, one
Wait,
wants
what
a
am I
sharp
using?
eye to see where the shoals are moving, but I believes in luck. Well, sir, shall I see you again
Infinite
before the
painter,
afternoon?
I think.
I don't much expect so, Joe. I've
I
got
can't
to
check
call at
without
some other
ending the
places,
stream
and I
because
don't
if I
suppose
leave
shall
the
have
app
time to
to
get
check
down
what
before.
the app is
When I'm
called,
coming, I shall be
it
sure to be punctual, so if I'm not here by 4,
resets the
you
stream.
go off without me. Mrs. Conway made no objection
let me
when
look.
Ralph proffered his request.
Oh,
He
no.
had sacrificed the greater part of his holidays to
I
carry out her wishes.
recognize. Yep, I'm
And
using
paying a
Infinite
visit to
Painter.
Mr.
That's
Penfold.
it. That's what it's
And
called.
although she did not like his being out all night
I think I
fishing,
like
she
this
could not
color. I might
refuse his
change it later
request.
though.
And indeed, as she knew that Joe Knight was a steady
Yeah,
man and
they
not
changed
fond of
because
the
I
water,
haven't actually
there was no good
drawn,
reason why she should object.
like the whites of
She
her
therefore
eyes, which I need
cheerfully
to do
assented,
so that
saying
I
at the
can do
same
the
time,
shading on them.
"I'll back
And
up
I
a few
haven't
baskets
actually
for you, Joe,
drawn,
before you start, Ralph.
she has
There's
an
a nice
earbud
piece
in
of cold
that I
meat in the
haven't
house,
colored
and I'll
yet.
have that in a loaf of bread and some cheese put up for you.
And where am I putting?
I know what these fishing excursions
Right here.
are. You intend to
Okay.
be back at a certain time, and then the wind falls or the tide turns or something of that sort.
White.
You can't make the harbor. You know what a fright you gave me the
I think
first
she's
time
supposed
you
to
went
have
out
whites
fishing
in
with
her
Joe Knight.
eyes.
You would have been back at 5 o'clock in the
Some
afternoon,
of
and
my
you wouldn't
characters
get
are
in
not
until
supposed to
3
have
o'clock
whites
the
in
next
their eyes,
morning.
so...
Oh, I remember, Mother. And there you were on the quay when we came in. I was awfully sorry about that. Well, I have learned better since, Ralph, and I know now that there's not necessarily any danger, even if you don't come back by the time I expect you. And of course, each time I fidgeted, you've come back safe. I've learned a certain amount of sea knowledge, and I've come to know that sailors and fishermen are not
Now what
accountable for time.
color is the
That
earbud
if the wind
supposed to
drops and
be
tide turns, they're
without
helpless
the
in the matter, and
stripes?
have only to wait till the breeze comes up again. I think,
The
Mother, you
stripes are
ought to like
making my
my
job
going out at night
difficult.
better than in the daytime. Oh, why is that, Ralph? Because, Mother, if I go out in the daytime and don't get back until after dark, you worry yourself. And having no one to talk to, sit here wondering and wondering until you fancy all sorts of things. Now, if I go out in the evening and I don't come back in the morning at the hour you expect, you see, that's fine and bright, and that there is nothing to make you uneasy. Or if you do feel fidgety, you can walk down to the beach and talk to the boatmen and fishermen. And of course, they can tell you at once that there's nothing to worry about. And very
Might be
likely
the
point the boat out to you in the distance.
I don't know.
Well,
It'll be
Ralph,
fine,
perhaps
either
that's
way.
so, although I own I never look at it in that light before.
It's fine.
Chapter 3, Rundown. There's a nice breeze, Ralph said as he joined
I
the
feel like
fishermen
that's
at the
very much
appointed
not the
hour.
correct color.
Yes, it's just right, neither too light nor too heavy. It's rather thick, and I shouldn't be surprised if we get it thicker, but that won't matter. For in those days, not one ship plowed the water of our coast for every 50 that now make their way along it. There were no steamers, and the fear of collision was not ever in the minds of those. Where's Ben, Joe? That young scab, the fisherman said angrily. Nothing will do for him but to go a-climbing up the cliffs this morning. And just after you left us, news come that the young varmint had
I
fallen down
have a
a twisted
picture of
his foot.
Aiden here I could have shown you.
Doctors say
I
it'll be
did
a
not.
fortnight before he
I
can put
have
up a
Steve
run.
and Shara.
Then the old woman began a crying over him. Well, as I told her, if anyone ought to cry, it'd be me who's got to hire another boy in his place to do his
Oh,
work.
all of the chapters are long. Like, the first chapter ended, and I was like, wow, that was only the first chapter? I could have sworn it was at least 2, maybe 3. And then that second one covered his entire summer, like, vacation. So, and, like, a lot happened. It wasn't, like, a short summer vacation, either.
26 feet long and 8 feet beam. She was very deep and carried 3 tons of stone ballast in her bottom.
Okay.
She drew about 6 feet of water. She had a lot of freeboard and carried 2 lug sails and a small mizzen. They got in the small boat and rowed off to her. There was no call for you to bring that basket, Master Conway. I know you're fond of a fish fried just when it's taken out of the water. And I've got bread and a keg of beer to say nothing of a mouthful of spirits in case we get wet. Not that it looks likely we shall, for I doubt that there'll be any rain tonight. I think there'll be more wind, perhaps, and then it'll get thicker.
I don't know why I'm randomly doing, like,
They sailed straight out to sea.
the star from...
Joe had fitted his boat to be worked with the aid of a boy only. He had a handy winch, by which he hoisted his heavy lug sails, and when the weather was rough, hauled up his trawls.
Nope. More
Of these he
that.
carried
Go
2
back.
each,
Go back.
14 feet long, and fished with them 1 out on each quarter.
Go.
When he reached the fishing ground 6 miles
That
out, Joe lowered the
today.
mizzen lug and reefed the main, where there was plenty of wind to keep the boat going at the pace required for trawling under the reduced sail. Then the trawls were
I don't know. I mean, okay. So first off, you gotta consider he was probably, like, he was born into a rich family, probably, because back then, if you weren't rich, you did not have time to just sit down and write books, you know? Like, that just didn't happen. You wouldn't have been able to, you know? Kind of crazy.
Fish from the first haul, and these he took down and soon had sizzling in a frying pan over the fire, which he had lighted as soon as the boat was under sail. These are for you, Master Conway, he said. Your permission, I shall stick to that here piece of beef.
I just don't know, though. It's
Fishing
kind of
no treat to
crazy.
me, and I don't often get meat. Keep your eye
You gotta
open
wonder.
down below. There ain't many craft
Like, did G.A. Henty inspire, like, J.R. Tolkien at
You should
all?
not see a light far in this mist, Joe. No, you wouldn't, and what's
That'd
worse,
be kind
many
of
of them don't
cool,
carry no lights
wouldn't
at
it?
all. It would be a good thing, Joe, if there was a law
I
to make
love
all vessels
J.R.
carry lights.
Tolkien.
Aye, lad, but you see, in war times, it ain't always convenient. A peaceful merchantman don't want to show her lights to any privateers that may happen to be cruising about. And you may be sure that the privateer don't
Joe
attract
is
the attention of
clairvoyant,
these
I'm telling you.
employers until she's close upon them, or to come under the eye of any of our cruisers.
Poor Joe.
Oh, no, there ain't many lights shown now, not in these waters. Folks prefer to risk the chance of running into each other rather than that of being caught by a French privateer. Now that the trolls were out, there was no occasion for anyone to attend to the helm. Consequently, when Joe announced that
That's very true. Where is hair?
And as the catches were satisfactory, Joe was in capital spirit. You brought good luck, Master Conway, and I notice this generally do when you're out with me.
I don't know why I have the stars theme stuck in my head.
I shall make a good thing of it. I want it bad enough, for I'm in her ears a bit of my rent. The war's made everything so terrible dear that as much as a poor man could do to keep his head above water. What time is it now, Joe, do you think? Oh, about 2 o'clock, I reckon. It'll begin to get light in a couple of hours. And at 5, we'll up nets and make our way back. He had scarcely spoken when he shouted, "Ship ahoy! Look out for yourself, lad!"
Look out for yourself, lad. Yes, please look out for yourself.
He saw a crest of white foam a
Do
few
that.
yards away in the darkness. A moment later, something dark passed over his head.
We would like for you not to die, because we like...
Mass struck the boat.
We like
There was
Ralph.
a crash, a shock, and the hard seas, after first heeling deeply over under the pressure, suddenly sank down like a stone. Ralph had staggered under the force of the collision and would have fallen back as the boat heeled over. But instinctively, he threw up his arms and his hand came in contact with the rope that had an instant before touched his cheek.
Okay.
He seized it with both hands and threw his legs around it as the boat went down under his feet.
You know,
The whole thing being so sudden that it was
I don't feel like shading right now. It's like long and tedious, and I don't feel like doing it.
Hello, hello, help, he shouted.
I might save that for a final stream. Maybe tomorrow.
Then a figure crawled out on the spar
I don't know. I
protecting above his
think,
head.
you know what? I think I'll do that. I think I'll do a stream tomorrow afternoon probably. And I will shade both of these. For now, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with where it's at right now. Like, I could post it right now and just this is a flat art and be okay with it. But because I want to shade it, I'm going to set this aside and do it tomorrow because I'm tired. I keep yawning. Thank you guys for joining me. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a great evening and keep well, and hope to see you tomorrow, or, you know, whenever I see you. I'm hoping to have a schedule, for, posting consistently up sometime this next week. I was hoping to get it sooner, but a lot of stuff's been going on around here in my, like, family and stuff. So it's just been very hard to get a consistent schedule set. I'm working on it, and I'll hopefully get that to you guys. Hoping to do some, like, I want to do more art streams, but I also want to do some writing stuff. I'm not sure if that means, like, a writing stream, or... I don't know. Maybe I'll just have a live stream with a blank screen, or figure out some sort of, like, little, like, animation or something that can, like, be over top of the stream so it's not just blank or whatever. I'll figure it out. I'm working on it. Or I'll try to make consistent, like, daily posts or something. But yeah, anyway, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Yeah, thank you for stopping by and hanging out. Like, I guess you didn't just stop by. But yeah, thank you. Bye, guys.